Go. Find it.
Yeah, it was down here.
Wanted to see that. Probably more than one.
Now.
Yeah, I had something on my phone today. I got the. Okay.
So will we have to postpone it?
It's in the paper.
It is in the paper?
Yes, it's in the paper,
Not the marijuana.
not the marijuana.
The
Yeah.
other thing on-
We had the original public hearing and I believe it was in the paper for Mike Lynn. The original hearing,
Okay, for that, yeah.
but
Was
I-
there one for this, for?
Yes.
Bell and for, okay.
yes,
Do we keep a copy of that?
what?
I've already, you can already post Nick, since he's kind of in charge of the ordinance group. So we can talk about that later, so with 5:30 yet, no.
We'll give it about 5 minutes.
5 minutes and.
Sounds like it.
Mute or unmute?
It's got lots of simple tips like.
Well, we haven't even started. so-
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Start.
Hey, you can
We're gonna have to table it.
Table it and bring it back up.
We don't have enough people. The issue, you have to have a quorum. And we're what, one short, two short
This is for the public hearing.
for the public hearing now?
Our regular meeting starts at 6. For committee meetings.
Yeah. So, we're gonna have to table discussion on the rezoning requests. Okay, we'll go ahead and post a notice on that. Hopefully we can get it done. I don't know, I'm gonna be
For the next council meeting?
It's gotta be 15 days.
15
Again?
days, yeah.
Check with them, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And I wanna apologize, because this has been scheduled for like 3 weeks, and
So what was the meeting? So I guess I'm thinking, what's in the regular council meeting then?
So
Because I mean, obviously the reason I'm here is the tiny house.
that's gonna be in committee, committee meeting, that should start at 6.
So that meeting starts at 6.
Yeah.
oh, so you're for the tiny house.
So
Okay.
what was the rezone? I mean,
No, from R1 to R2 for one property on Ohio to let him put a mobile home there. And then the other one was down there by D and Highway 54 to zone it for business too.
Right.
When there.
so was it gonna be the same thing at 6? If nobody else showed up, y'all have enough people for that or?
One more person, one more, we need one
Yeah,
more.
I mean, yeah, we gotta have, well, see, it's a committee meeting, so, I mean, each committee's gotta have at least, is it 2 or 3?
Are we talking maybe four?
Four, 3.
You have to have three.
No,
Yeah.
we've
So,
got more than that on the committee.
Each committee.
what we're talking about, we're talking
I'm having a
about.
city council.
Okay,
So,
So,
yeah,
which
we're not
part?
sure
Yep, you can push pause.
for the tiny, or not for the tiny house, for the trailer and for Grease property. So.
Call this meeting to order Monday, February 13th, 2022. This is the committee work study session. Councilman Bell, lead us, pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for stands one nation under indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda, city administrator.
I have nothing.
You had that.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that. I didn't know if we were gonna do that into this property. Section.
Okay, we can do, yeah, we can do that. All right, infrastructure, grounds, streets and sidewalk.
Nothing at this time.
All right, public safety, police hiring committee. First off, we have the minutes, in draft format right now, but no, give them some memory of the last meeting, the committee had elected, or excuse me, Councilman Ringhausen elected to step down as chairman. And the committee appointed Bill Suddarth as the chairman of the Public Safety and Police Hiring Committee. So, Mr. Suddarth, do you have anything you want to bring forth now? I know we're going to go to a closed session on hiring, but.
Yes, that's the only thing we've got is, we've got one.
All righty. Ordinance Committee.
All right, let's see. The first thing we had was the tiny homes. Basically, I wanted to consider two very general questions because there's a lot of stuff that's going to have to be looked at if we're going to proceed with that. So I guess I should make that three questions. The first is just in general, if people think it's a good idea or not. I myself think that it's a good idea. A tiny home doesn't have to be aesthetically any different than a larger home. It could increase the amount of housing that is available in town. It could increase affordability. It just, offers more flexibility in terms of providing homes. Let me get out. See if I can just think of the other questions. I want to consider whether, I've seen in some of the ordinances we have. They're treated like mobile homes. Where they're small and they can be moved around. And the other is that they're treated more like permanent homes where they have to sit on a foundation or a crawl space or something to that effect. I didn't know if anybody had any thoughts on that to give ordinance committee and planning and zoning a little bit of direction. And then sort of related to that. There's the question of whether to zone them in a special zone. I saw some of the ordinances set them up so that there's a specific area where they're allowed to be put, part of the town that's zoned for residential small homes. Or it could just be something I believe that we could authorize generally in residential areas, either R1 or R2. And so those are the questions. Does anybody have any opinions on that to give some direction? Any thoughts?
I think they should go on a permanent foundation.
Okay.
I'd have a question on why.
Why on a permanent foundation?
What if the person wants to build a large home later? And they're using a tiny home jumping spot? Not everybody has enough money to
They-
invest in a $75,000-$80,000, small house, and that's probably about 100,000 short right now.
They would be able to take it off of that small foundation, just like you would a house.
What I'm saying is that a more permanent foundation would increase the cost exponentially to the homeowner that is trying to convert the property into a large scale home residence.
So I'll address this a little bit. So when we look at our mobile homes and our trailers, they're required to be anchored
Yes.
or on a pad.
Type of thing. You'd have to anchor a tiny house too.
Right, let's, I'm not sure if Councilman Peugeot was talking about permanent foundation versus an anchoring system or something, but
No, because I think the anchoring does go, like, if you're not gonna have it attached to a foundation, you gotta attach it somehow, and so they would be anchoring if it's
You
not,
would
it's
have
not on a
to.
permanent foundation. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been kind of involved with trying to put some thoughts together. And Kelly and Jeff and are gonna meet Wednesday to start kind of fleshing out and start playing some devil's advocate with a lot of this stuff and try to narrow down exactly what we might want to do and then opposed to what we can do. And just talk about troubleshooting basically and brainstorming with questions to try to come up with some reasonable criteria for these things in order that we can start laying the groundwork for the ordinance. I think I mentioned in my email to you today. This is gonna take a while. I mean, there are a lot of issues here that we're gonna have to address. And I guess from my perspective, I wanna write a good ordinance. And I wanna write an ordinance that incorporates some of the language we have with some of this other stuff. But at the same time, removes a lot of the contradictions so that we're not, every time somebody wants to put something up, there's this nebulous nature of the ordinance where we're having these kinds of discussions as to what we can and cannot do. So my thought is we take our time, we write a good bill, then we come up, we propose it, and everybody, and we adopt it or change it or whatever. And then we have a solid piece of legislation we can use that will address the very questions you're talking about. And we're going to be talking about things like anchoring and do they need to be in a pad or a foundation or whatever. And then once we flesh that out, then planning and zoning and whoever needs to be involved can come back to the committee with at least a draft. And we can start winnowing and adding things or cutting things out again, going through the legislative process, basically. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
And I would also note that I think that there could be different provisions for tiny homes that are treated as mobile and tiny homes that are treated as permanent. And just because a home has to be put on a pad or something, I don't think would mean that you wouldn't be able to expand it later. You're right, it might increase the costs. But, you know, the zoning could perhaps be split up because the way I understand it, the zoning ordinances already separate out mobile homes to go in certain areas. And so it could just be that there's a fix for detached homes that are going to be, you know, put on a foundation, and then separate provisions for mobile home parks or things like that.
Yeah, and you look at, I've looked at a number of different ordinances from other places, all of them deal with these issues.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of takes a little different approach to it. And so I think in working together, you know, and laying this groundwork for the initial draft, or not even a draft, because that implies some sort of official action. You know, just as a list of discussion points that we can use as a basis to start fleshing this thing out.
Yeah.
And writing a good piece of, writing a good ordinance.
I think from the point of installation in Anchorage, I mean, judging on just kind of the nature of the residents, I certainly think having it similar to the requirements for a mobile home would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would, and then that would list the minimum requirements, certainly, if they want to, you know, do something different that exceed that would.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
So what I propose this, we'll have our meeting, and then I can come back next time, we can get together, when we get together next time, in the committee session, we'll have a list of questions and those kinds of things, and our thoughts, at least on paper, and then that can be the cornerstone for beginning the discussion of actually trying to start putting something together.
I do think we need to consider one thing, though. We need to define what is a tiny house.
Yeah, and we'll do all
Square
that.
footage, so everybody knows 20 by 20 can't be a tiny house, 10 by 15 can. So nobody gets confused what a tiny home or house is.
Yeah, we're gonna look at that, and from what I've seen with most statutes that I've looked at from other places, the sizes are all pretty uniform within 100 feet. So I mean, yeah, the definition of what a tiny home is pretty consistent across the ordinances. So we just have to flesh all that out, and come back with recommendations. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question. I don't know, I was my first council member meeting, sorry, but I have a question. So there's a difference between a tiny house, it's classified as 400 square foot or less, not counting office space by the 2018 International Housing Code. Okay, so a 20 by 20 is a tiny house. Okay, but then there's another classification called a micro house. So a micro house is larger than 400 square foot, but the same classification, the same structure, just a little larger than a tiny house. And I would like for y'all to consider both of those, because, you know, the micro houses are a little larger, little more, they can be made a little more handicap friendly, accessible. The people that are looking at these houses are not, they're the people that we want in the community. They're either younger couples that have jobs and are working, and they want a minimalist lifestyle.
There you go.
They're not looking to have I have over on North Carolina that I rent. They want a bedroom, a bathroom, a living room, a kitchen, a clean, nice, tidy place. So we just got to figure that out, because I don't want, if we go by just tiny houses, it's only 400 square foot by the codes, by the international codes. But if we look at the micro houses as well, it's the same principle, just a little different.
I'm looking at one of the ordinances that I've been referring to quite a bit. And they go from 128 square feet up to 900.
Yeah, but the true definition of tiny house.
Yeah, I understand.
Is 400 square foot or less living space excluding lots.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
But so the micro house falls in that other from the 400 to the 900.
That's good. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So there's,
Yeah, houses in Louisiana that ain't much bigger than that.
so there's three things that the city council has to take into account and the committee work on. Right now, our current codes are 2005, which doesn't address anything about tiny homes. So we gotta address what sections of the more modern codes that we're gonna adopt. And then put that into ordinance. And then the second part is to look at our planning and zoning and see how we tie these tiny homes into our planning and zoning. So I mean, there's two or three things there, the building code, the ordinance, and the planning and zoning adjustment if needed. So, I mean, that's a big project to take on.
We got a lot to do before we're even close to being ready to take final action on this. I'm figuring, I'm not even gonna put a timetable on it, because I haven't even really, other than the preliminary work, we haven't really even started digging into it yet.
I don't want anybody to look at the tiny homes as a cheap anything, because a tiny home will cost more. I can buy 20 rental houses in Louisiana today cheaper than what a tiny home bought, set up, and installed properly on a property would cost. So I just don't want people to think it's a shed barn that somebody goes out and buys at the local parking lot and drops off and makes a tiny home out of it. There's a lot of things that goes into that. I mean, we have 30 plus rentals in Louisiana, but I guarantee you that those tiny homes are as nice as any rental in Louisiana, mine or anybody else's. So they're not cheap. I mean, I can go buy a rental house here in town for $15,000 less than I can set up a tiny home.
Yeah, and I'm taking all that into consideration as I look at all this, because I understand their quality dwellings. What we don't want is somebody going to Home Depot and buying a big shed and dropping it on a lot somewhere and saying it's a tiny house.
But
You see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
but I mean, the tiny houses are constructed and not storage barns. I mean, they're
Exactly.
built in such a way. There's a difference between a front door swinging barn door storage shed than there is a custom built tiny home.
And we're gonna take
Our
all
tiny-
that, we're
our
gonna
tiny
look at all
house.
that.
Yes.
I've got it written down even.
Just one point there is, first of all, I don't think I've heard anyone say that they're against a tiny home.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that we don't have codes and ordinances and zoning in place to address it. So we don't have those issues and we do have quality structures, so.
That's fine. Unless anybody has anything else to say, I just sort of wanted to get it moving and see if we could put some initial parameters around it.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on. Next one listed is the tax levy ordinance. We did the first reading this last month. Anybody have anything else that they thought of in the meantime about it? Okay. And then we did have some people wanted to discuss some of the details of new video conference policy. I've got my copy here if anybody has anything specific they wanted to discuss. I think the main question that we were talking about last time was whether we wanted to continue to include some specific number of meetings that you'd be allowed to attend by video conference over a rolling 12-month period. Not that it would have any particular legal effect, but it would put council members at least on notice that there is some specific number. Does anybody have a number that they would like? Myself, I think if people aren't attending, we've got essentially the tools we need.
Current ordinance, I think it's fine.
Isn't the current ordinance 3?
Yes, I believe so.
Well, why do we need to change it?
We don't necessarily. I just don't think it adds any legal effect. But it's fine to leave it in there, just as part of the policy statement.
Just let it be.
All right, we're leaving the 3 then. Get that amended for the next time. That's all I have.
Okay. Economic development and tourism.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll add something to it, just so the council knows, the Louisiana Visitors Convention Bureau, their contract has lapsed with the city. And so we'll be reaching out and trying to get a new contract worked on. Ballpark, not 100% sure. I haven't received any reports for the last couple of years from them as far as their finances and their activities. I'm trying to obtain that as well. My understanding is they may have some funds that to utilize to promote Louisiana visitors and, or, you know, promote us. And with the hikers, or excuse me, not hikers, but the bluegrass pickers event coming up, if we can advertise and get that out there and promote the rest of our hotels and motels and bed and breakfasts, would be a good thing. So I'll bring that up whenever we get together.
Can I mention something about the grants I'm looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing some more in-depth digging on some federal economic development grants that are available. And the beauty of these things is that there's no deadline. All right, you just submit the application and there's one that has me intrigued. It's basically a Kickstarter to help you get organized with respect to economic development, do economic development studies, those kinds of things. And so I'm going to do a little more on the grant itself. I'm trying to deal with the federal website, which is, you know, it's the federal government. We know how much fun that could be. And I'm going to try to get an application and start looking at it and see if that's something that we might want to take a look at, especially if the feds are going to pay for it. You know, I mean, but mine are, in looking at these federal grants, I mean, we can't be myopic in terms of looking at just like Department of Conservation or state grants. Federal government has got a boatload of money they're begging to give away. And so if we can identify some opportunities there to take advantage of that, that can't be nothing but a win-win for everybody. So I'm going to try to get digging deeper in this one in particular I'm looking at. Maybe by the next committee meeting, we'll have some more specific information and we can kind of figure out what we want to do.
All right, housing, health, senior services.
My only question is, I know we have some homes that are getting close to being in the ready to tear down. Where is the city with being able to getting some of these derelict homes gone?
What's the question?
I guess basically, is financing behind tearing down some of these old houses stopped, or?
Right now, we're in the middle of a freeze. It has. One of the things probably need to look for the county re-implement our dangerous building committees and tie in the council through the committee as far as prioritizing which structures we want to target first. I know Kelly and working on that, but I think tying in, you know, some council representation will help prioritize some of those.
What about the old ice house down there? Are they ever going to do anything with that?
So my understanding is, and anyone can correct me because I'm not 100% sure, but the gentleman that owns that structure's sitting in the penitentiary in California.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Well, I seen some kids playing around the other day and it's dangerous.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. It's very dangerous.
And this is just an eyesore.
Yeah. It's been sitting there, what, 2 years now or longer?
So if we can look at, if there's a way, I don't know if I don't think he's gonna be able to get out of the state of California, even if he gets out of jail, but if there's a way for him to release that property down the road, maybe someone will take it up.
Could it be an eminent domain thing?
only if we have a planned use for it, a public use for it. I mean, just clearing it out and leaving it park space may or may not meet the qualifications, but
What would be wrong with the park?
That would be expensive though, I mean.
and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just legally if we can do it.
A lot of people's been asking about it.
Or put a picnic area there, if you don't put merry-go-round the swing, something.
Right, yep.
Cause you got a park right there, a little bitty, it's really nice and
Perhaps we can look into some type of,
an expansion.
grant.
That's right.
So the house on Fourth Street. When you guys are supposed to tear down, when y'all gonna do that?
There's no plans right now, no plans right now. All right, enterprise, public utilities committee,
Nothing at this time.
all right, community and employee relations committee. We don't have anything at this time. Is there any miscellaneous business? Hearing none, we are adjourned. We'll be going into, and anyone need a break before we go into open session? All right, let's go ahead and keep on rolling.
Can I ask a question? That's a business.
What's that? We're done now.
Oh,
We're done now.
so our two police officers, are we paying them to be, both of them to be here?
Yes, yeah, we are. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is Monday, February 13th, 2022, special council meeting. Let's go ahead and Mr. Bell, would you lead us to pledge allegiance one more time? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City clerk, can you take the roll call, please?
Mr. Sudders?
Here.
Ms. Evans? Yeah. Ms. Ardeno? Mr. Gordon?
Here.
Mr. Peugeot?
Here.
Mr. Bell?
Here.
Mr. Dolbear?
Here.
Mr. Ringhausen?
Here.
Bob? Speaker, Bob.
Zoom.
Aaron, yours. Bob?
I see him.
He's still muted. Yeah.
Can you hear us?
He can unmute himself.
He's mouthing something.
Bob, you're still muted.
Speak louder. kid.
42 years. Well, you can't hear.
Sign language for yes. Or fear.
Do this.
Can you hear us?
All right, we'll go ahead and,
Oh, this is.
no business carried over from the committee, so.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Are you present?
Just say yes, Bob.
Yes, yes, yes.
Let's hope he knows what he said yes to.
So, I see this on the agenda for the 709 and 715 South Carolina. Entertain a motion to table that. We're not prepared to do that.
Sorry, done.
No, we still got time, everything else. Lindy, what was the concern you had with 709, 715 South Carolina? Transferring over to B1?
I think that one was properly noticed and published in the paper, but I wasn't sure if the P and Z had a recommendation on that one or not yet.
Yeah,
That's the lens, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
that's the one.
Yeah, so that was the one that came up last meeting. And Mayor, I think you were saying we could act on that, but we hadn't noticed it. And so, we had originally been holding it for, putting in place a marijuana ordinance similar to, the alcohol ordinance that's in place. But since it's in the Constitution, technically in effect already. And so, if we wanted to accept the P and Z recommendation, I had asked Memory to put it on just so that if we were gonna have a meeting, that we could act on that if we wanted to. We don't have to. We could just table it.
Council, does anyone have any questions on rezoning this property to B1? If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve planning and zoning's recommendation.
So moved.
I'll second.
First, second, any discussion? Hearing none, will you take a roll call, please?
Mr. Sedars,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
No,
Ms. Ardno. Jordan,
Yes.
Mr. Peugeot,
Yes.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Gobert,
Yes.
Mr. Ringhouse.
yes,
Okay. Passes. Entertain a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of revised Missouri statute, section 610.021, subsections 1, 3, and 13.
I so move.
Second. First, second, any discussion? Hearing none, take the roll call, please.
Mr. Sedars,
Yes.
Evans,
yes.
Ms. Ardno, Mr. Jordan,
Yeah.
Mr. Peugeot,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Gobert,
Yes.
Mr. Ringhouse.
yes.
Entertain a motion to allow the city clerk, city attorneys, the police chief, and officer what and label horse to and the city administrator.
Then a request for a motion, I'll make it.
Okay, yeah, it's long-winded, but there it is. All right, hearing none, all in favor, take a roll call, please.
Mr. Sedars,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ardno, Jordan,
Yeah.
Joe,
Yes.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Gobert,
Yes.
Mr. Ringhouse.
Yes.
We're in closed session.
Probably gonna reopen up.
After this, yeah.
Okay, so y'all remember that we're going back to.
How long is it gonna take?
How come you guys
I don't.
He and I and Jeff are always.
Memory, can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, my God. Right. I can.
I have one.
How you doing? Good. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Bob. Enjoy your vacation.
Hi, everyone.
Bye, babe.
Good night.